Very good morning, students. Today we will start with the new topic of banking and insurance, that is ECEG. So, till last lecture, we have covered almost all the syllabus of this banking and insurance, and we are left with only one or two topics. One is the that is Export Guarantee Corporation, that ECGC, and another is the scenario of life insurance sector in India. Most probably, we will going to cover this in 1 or 2 days in the next upcoming lecture. Now the syllabus for the whole banking and insurance will be over. So if you are having any doubts in that, you can ask anytime after that also. It is not that we will not respond; we will respond to your queries. If you are having any queries, you can ask anytime before the examination, and we will try to solve your issues. So now we are starting with the new topic, as we have completed the topic of international banking yesterday. So we are on the second last module, and that is the module, that is ECGC is the chapter which the topic which is given in the seventh module as well as in the eighth module. So we will do this chapter only once, because it is not a relevance of studying the same thing again and again. Again, if you are having doubts, we can clarify their doubts. But today we will start with the that is that is ECGC, which is another important topic of your syllabus. So that we will discuss what is the meaning of ECGC, what is the role of ECGC, and what it means. So generally, if we are discussing about in this the topic, we are going to discuss the following points. First is, what is ECGC? That is Export Guarantee Corporation. Secondly, we will discuss the history of this ECGC, then administrative body of this ECGC, how it is what is the meaning of export finance, risk covered under ECGC, role of ECGC in export finance, and risk management in exports. So all these seven topics we will cover in upcoming slides, which will cover almost the whole syllabus of the banking and insurance. Now next, so what is ECGC? So as we all know that in the today's current scenario, maximum of the companies has become MNCs, and they are exporting their goods from one country to another country. So there are various types of risks which are attached to the particular commodities or the goods being transferred from the one country to another country. Let's assume that if we are transferring a good from India to Japan, and there was a risk that there was a many type of risk. First risk is that is the loss in transit. That if we send the goods, if those goods get lost in transit, then how we will cover that losses. Secondly, if we have sent the good, and although we are having the letter of credit for the export, but after receiving the goods, the buyer become insolvent in that particular country. Now we're going to pay our money because it is a cross-border trade. This trade does not belong to one country. Although if it is belongs to one country, then we can sue that person in India. But now here the business is done between two different countries. So here, to protect the traders or the exporters and importers from such risks, the government of India has formed ECGDs, that is Export Credit Guarantee Corporation, which guarantees the risk, which guarantees that if the goods has been exported, then the seller will get its payment on time. Otherwise, if it is just to promote the export in India, and to promote the exporter, because only the exporter will export the goods if he is having the guarantee from the government that in case of any of the risk, if there was a loss in transit or any type of loss, or he will not get the money after that, they will be default in payment, or XYZ, any type of risk, then it will be covered by ECGC, that is Export Credit Guarantee Corporation of India. So here, this a company which provide cover to exporter against of any kind of risk, as we have already discussed. Second, it is a company which is wholly owned by the government of India. So it is the company which is got incorporated by the government of India to protect the exporters from being cheated and being getting a risk. Second, the head office of this ECGC, that is Export Credit Guarantee Corporation of India, is in Maharashtra, Mumbai, and its branches are in the whole country. It is in the capitals or the various cities of the India. So the offices of the ECGC are everywhere in India, so that exporters can easily approach to these corporation for the purpose of exports and getting their commodities and goods insured during the course of export. Next, this is formally known as the that is Export Credit Guarantee Corporation of India Limited. So its name ECGC comes from here. Next, the history. This was set up in 30. This was set up on 31st July 1957. So just after the independence, when the India thinks that we should export the things, the India should try to increase its exports. So to protect the exporters from being cheated and to cover various type of risk, it has been established. In 1957, it was ERIC, that is Export Risk Insurance Corporation. Afterward, in 1964, the name has changed Export Credit and Guarantee Corporation Limited, and in 1983 again its name was changed, that is Export Credit Guarantee Corporation of India Limited, and now in 2014 we are pronouncing this company as a ECGC Limited, that is Export Credit Guarantee Corporation Limited. So here, so this is a brief history of ECGC. Now its administrative body. As we all know that it was established in year 1957 to strengthen the export promotion and to provide and to safeguard the exporters from various type of risks. Next, the functions of our administrative control under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry or the Corporate Affairs. So it is generally controlled by the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, that is Ministry of Corporate Affairs now. Next, managed by the board of director comprising representative of government, RBI, banking, insurance, and exporting community. Now, who are the members of this? First members are the direct, that is the representative of government, that are the employees which has been appointed by the government for ECGC. Second, Reserve Bank of India, because here RBI and banking is involved here because, for example, the letter of credit has been issued to the exporter by any of the importer which is outside the country. So if that importer makes a default, so then the settlement, as we all know, the settlement of letter of credit is always through the banks. So to safeguard this, the Reserve Bank of India is also being made. Reserve Bank of India and various nationalized banks are also being made as the member of this administrative body. Next is insurance and exporting community. Now, insurance is here because, as you've already discussed, that while exporting the commodities from one country to another country, there was risk that is the goods may be lost in transit, goods may be sunk in water, goods may be damaged due to the air freight, goods may be there may be damages to goods due to the adverse weather condition while transit. So to protect all these things, there was the concept of insurance, and that insurance is known as the marine insurance, as we have already discussed here in the different type of general insurance. So it is a marine insurance. So marine insurance is again of different type. That is, if it is for the sea, then it is called the sea marine, and if it is for the air, land, and any other mode of transport, then it is called the inland marine insurance. So the concept of transit insurance is there. That's why the insurance is also being made the member of this administrative body. Next is the exporting community. Now the exporters are the main members of this because they are exporting their goods from India to other countries. So if they are exporting their goods from India to another country, so they are the main role player in this because the maximum risk is for them only. So to safeguard these persons from the various type of risks, so ECGC is formed. Next is, it is the seventh largest credit insurance of the world in the terms of coverage of national exports. Now again, it is the seventh largest credit insurance company in the world, and which is protecting the national, that is the exporters of India from being getting the losses or risk. Next, export finance. So what is export finance? Export finance refers to financial assistance extended by the banks and other financial institutions to business for shipping of product outside the country or region. Now, here the export finance, if the exporter wants to export something and he is having a lack of liquidity, so the bank will provide the short-term loans and other type of finance to that company. That is known as that is known as export finance. Here, the goods are exported from India. for the goods which are being exported from India, the banks provide the various type of finances for the production of that particular goods. Next, export finances enable financing enables MSE, that is micro, small, and medium enterprises, to expand its reach to the global audience. Otherwise, MSMEs, we are all know that MSME is having always a business within the country, but with the help of export financing, it enables these MSMEs, that is micro, small, and medium enterprises, to expand their reach to the global audience, that they can export their commodities from here. And next, this assistance provided by its extended at the various stages of exports. Next, what are the risks which are being covered by this? So first is the political risk, second is the letter of credit opening bank risk, and third is the commercial risk. Now, political risk and commercial risks are clear from its name. Now, LC, that's letter of credit opening bank risk, means, for example, as we have discussed the concept of letter of credit, we will share that slide again with you, and uh, which will be easy for us to explain. So let me wait, and I will share that slide. So we are here. Now, here we are discussing that opening of the letter of credit. Now, what is the meaning of opening of letter of credit risk? That, for example, if we continue with this example of letter of credit here, this is the importer, this is the exporter, this is the bank which is issuing the letter of credit. So, importer requests the bank to issue letter of credit, and bank in the favor of this exporter. So, bank issues the letter of credit in this exporter, and this exporter supplies the goods to this importer. Now, here the exporter reaches the banks to get the money by opening the letter of credit. Now, this is known as the opening of letter of credit, because after this person receive a good, this will instruct the bank to make the payment as it has received the goods. Now, on the after having the bill of lending and presenting this bill of lending to this bank, the letter of credit is being known as the open. Now, here the bank will make the payment immediately, and this bank, after making the payment and accepting the letter of credit as well as the letter of lending, it is the bill of lending, will send the document to this bank for the transfer of the payment. Now, what happened then? Now, what is the risk in this opening letter of credit is that after the opening and letter of credit, this bank has already made the payment. Now, this bank goes to this bank, the bank which has issued the letter of credit, to make the payment. Now, here, if the payment is being defaulted, or this bank again has made the payment here, but if the payment is being defaulted, or this importer has become insolvent here, and as this bank knows that this importer has become insolvent, although this bank has to pay the money to this bank, because this bank has issued the letter of credit, which is a type of guarantee. But now if during the course of business, if this importer has become insolvent, and after this he has taken delivery of goods and refuses to make the payment on opening the letter of credit. Now, this is known as the opening the letter of credit risk. So this is again the major risk there which is there while opening the letter of credit risk, that is the LC opening bank risk. So this is the main risk, that if the letter of credit was not fake, it was fake, or there was some defects in letter of credit, or the importer has become insolvent, or there may be any issue regarding this. So in that case, there was a default in the payment by the importer. So to protect this thing, there are various type of risks which are being covered by this ECGC, that is Export Credit Guarantee Corporation. So we will discuss one by one. So first is the political risk. Political risk means the, for example, that first we will take the example of import restrictions. Now, sometimes the person who was while entering into the the contract, there the business was allowed, and after that, the government of the country from where the person or the businessman is importing the goods has put some restrictions on the import of the particular commodity. So in that case, if the goods are being already sold and after that the restrictions are being put there, so as we all know, the goods are to be brought back to our country. So there was the risk that will be related to the political risk that exporter may have to call back its goods. So there will be the cost, and has to bear the various type of cost. So to first is to avoid this risk. Second, war, civil war, or revolution. So if there was any type of civil war, or war between two different countries, or revolution in the country, which changes the political system of that particular country, and which is going to affect the exporter. So to avoid the loss to the exporters, the ECGC has provided the various insurance against these type of risks. Next, additional freight or insurance charges. If it has to be bear, it the assistance is provided by this ECGC. Any other costs are attributable to other country that will be covered under this. Now, commercial risk first is the insolvency of buyer. So this is the first type of commercial risk, as the buyer after putting the order has become insolvent. Now, who is going to make the payment? So in that case, the exporter will get the payments through the ECGC, as it is safeguarded by the insurance. Next, protected for default of the buyer. Now, here these are two different things. Insolvency of the buyer means the buyer has become insolvent under the eyes of law, and he will be not be able to make any payment to you because he has been already declared insolvent. Now here, that is pro, that is protected default by the buyer. Now here, what is the meaning of protected by default by the buyer? Because for example, buyer has imported the goods, and after taking the delivery of the good, refuses to make the payment. Now here again we said that this concept belongs to two different countries. So that if two different countries are involved. So here there was a risk that the payment will not be get to the exporter due to the or the seller due to the default of buyer. So here, to protect that, the ECGC provides the surety to the exporter that he will get his payment on time, either although if it is made by the buyer or not. Next is buyer failure to accept the goods. Now sometimes is that the goods are being exported and goods reach to the port, and even during the post that the buyer is unable to take the release or unable to accept the goods, or due to the failure, the goods are being lost or gets damages. So and after that he will no more accept these type of damages goods. So to protect the exporter from this risk, the then again the is covered under the ECGC. Now, how the risk management is done for the exporters or for the exports? First, there are two type of things. First is goods, that is the physical goods which are being sent from the one country to another, and next is the receivables. Receivable means that is the bills receivable or any type of checks or any type of payment. Now here, how this ECGC provide the insurance or manage the risk of the exports. First is if, regarding goods, that is the physical goods that are being sent by the exporter to the importer, or by the seller to the buyer of different countries, because here sellers and buyers belongs to two different nations. So in this, if the goods are lost due to damage or due to any of the peril, then it is protected by the marine insurance. Now, marine insurance will include all the things, that is inland marine and sea marine. Now, next is how the receivables are being protected. Now, receivable means that the things on the behalf of which the payment is being to be received. So, the receivables, there are two things. First is exchange risk, and next is the payment risk. Now, exchange risk means when, for example, while entering into the contract of export and import, the price of dollar was 60 rupees per USD, 60 INR per USD. Now here, when the goods are being sent, then the price has become rupees 55 per USD. Now there was a loss of rupees 5 per dollar to the exporter. So here the hedging is done by the authorized hedging dealer, or by the authorized dealers on this exchanges, on the various exchanges, to to protect the exporter from the exchange rate risk. So it has this thing we have already discussed in the financial derivative, that is forward contract, that how the hedging is being done and exchange rate risk is being covered by doing this particular thing. Now hedging means the risk against the that is protection of risk, or protection against the risk of fluctuation in the currency value. Now next is the payment risk. Now payment risk means that if the payment is being defaulted by the importer, so if the payment is being defaulted by the importer, then it is covered under the credit insurance. Next, now role of ECGC in export finance. First is it is provide the export insurance which covered banking and financial institution to enable exporter to obtain better facility from them. First thing, because if otherwise the bank will deny in making the payment. Secondly, providing the export credit insurance cover exporters against loss of export of goods as well as the services under many different policies. So they will provide all type of insurance. Next, offer guarantees to the banks and financial institutions to enable exporter to obtain better facility from them. Now, for example, if the person want money, that is the capital requirement for the goods to be manufacturing for the goods for the manufacturing of goods which are being to be exported. Now here the ECGC will take the guarantee of this financial institution, and it will act as the guarantor that this if the finance is provided by banks this particular person, and if this person sends the goods to another country, then the payment will be if there was any default in payment or there was any risk of payment, then it will be covered by the ECGC norms. So here if it is covered by the ECGC norms, then the bank will provide the finance as bank. There was a very low risk with the bank that their payment will be defaulted by the exporters. First, next, that it provides the investment insurance to the Indian companies investing in joint ventures abroad in the form of equity or loan and advances. So here, if we are having a joint venture with the different companies of the different countries, now if we are sending the goods and if we are having a joint ventures, then the risk of the failure or default of payment is very less. So here, this will provide this will provide the companies or the the investment insurance to the Indian investing joint ventures abroad. Next, this also offers the insurance protection to exporter against the payment risk. As we have already discussed, if the payment is defaulted, then it is made by the ECGC. Next, it provides the guidance in export related activities. Now here, if the person who wants to export goods from India is not having the technical knowledge of how the export is being done, so in each of the districts, so in each of the district there was the offices which is DAC, that is district industrial centers there, which 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 works with this ECGC and provide the guidance to export in their export related activities, that how the goods are being exported, what are the nature, what are the documentation is required, how the LOC can be obtained, how the bill of lending can be obtained, and how to protect themselves from any type of fraud during this. So these all type of systems is provided by the ECGC in the form of guidance. Next, it makes available information of different countries with its own credit ratings. Now, credit rating means that how what is the credibility of the person. For example, if the person's with high credit rating will get the loan at the lesser amount, or and bank, and while this the again the risk of loss of payment is very less, because here the person to whom the goods are being exported or the goods are being sent or sold belongs to the country where the credit rating is higher. So credit rating is just the rating of the credibility of the country. So if country as well as the company. So if we are exporting the goods to such companies and such countries, then the credit rating will the countries of the ECGC will make the information available of different countries by its own credit rating agencies, that how to which country you should export, and there is a very less risk of default in the particular country. Next, it make it easy for exporter to obtain export finance from banks and financial institutions. As we discussed, it assists the exporters in recovering the bad debts again if there was a default in payment in the other countries. So this will assess that how you can approve the judicial system of that country or the corporate affairs of that company to recover your bad debts. Next, this also provides the information on credit worthiness of the overseas buyer. Again, this belongs to the credit rating. So if the credit worthiness of overseas buyer is good, So it means that that person will make a very less default in payment, or a very low default in payment, or he will make the payment on the time. And the person who belongs to the, whose credit worthiness is not good, so it, there was the risk that the buyer will make the default, or risk of default is more in such cases. So this is also provided by ECGC. Now next is the trend. So what is the net profit of ECGC? It in 2009-10 it was 20 lakhs, then it was around 35 lakhs, then it is around 48 lakhs. Now it is in 2013 it's around 7 to 8 lakhs. Now here, because as the payment defaults are more, the exporters are more, so here the profit after tax of this ECGC is, sometime it is raising, sometime it is declining. Now we have discussed all these things around the ECGC, which is the Government of India Enterprises, and which focus on the export, which cover the risk. That's all for this topic. So if you are having any doubt in this topic, you can ask any time by sending the mail or the message, or by any other way. Uh, Thank you.